Hi everybody, right, we're going live and trying again to get Rebecca online, our nutritionist that I'm going to be interviewing today. We've just had a slight technical hitch trying to do it from my laptop. So just trying to establish how we get Rebecca on here. I can see that I can invite, so I'm just going to do that now. Rebecca wants to join the video. Approve. Oh. Adding. Rebecca's beautiful face appear. There she is.
Hi. We've made it.
So we'll just maybe wait a second or two, Rebecca. We've got a few jumping on the call now. I can see Corinne, Jonathan. Had a slight technical hitch for those just jumping on. I tried to do it from my laptop, but it didn't work from there. So you can hear me. All is good.
I can hear you.
Fantastic.
You can hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect.
One quick question, given this is the first time I've done this, is there a way we can record this, or once it's on the group, we can then share it beyond that?
So when you finish this live, just hit save. You'll have an option to hit save and to hit share. So hit save first, and then you can share later on. But once you've saved it, it'll download to your phone. So that's where you want it.
Fantastic. Right, well, we've got a few more jumping on. There's Linda, hello, and Laura's back on. So I'm just going to kick off. I'm going to introduce myself first of all, because I'm new to the Me30 group. It is the inaugural, the inaugural group for this challenge, and Andy very kindly asked me to collaborate with him. And yeah, I met Rebecca myself 2 years ago nearly, when I first sort of made a change to my nutritional program and was introduced to isogenics. But basically, you know, I think my big takeaway so far is that I never appreciated how much can change in your health and wellness by changing your nutrition. I was always a gym bunny and thought that exercising 5 times a week would do it. But really, you know, what I've learned and what Rebecca's going to tell us is that 80% of optimal health comes from nutrition. So, Rebecca, I'm going to hand over to you and just sort of open up by saying, you know, why is eating healthily so very important for overall optimum health?
Your health is everything. And I don't think people really appreciate how important your health is until something goes wrong. And normally that's when people kind of come into action and decide to make a change. But really, if we just made those changes in the first place, obviously things still happen, but you've definitely reduced your risk by having a good diet. And I also think that people kind of just assume, okay, well, this is just how life is. This is just how you're meant to feel. And people don't realize how good you can feel and how much better you can feel. Until they've started to change their diet, and you know, until they're getting all of the right nutrients in and having a good balance and looking after themselves, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water. Like, there's so many elements to having a healthy lifestyle, really, and diet is a huge part of that. And people sometimes think that it's not that big a part, and that they can just if I eat clean, or if I do this or follow that, then that will do. But there's so many more parts to it than that. It really is complex.
Yeah, I have to say that the nugget that got me to change my nutrition was when I was told it would really help my sleep. And I know there's a few on the group that have been complaining about poor sleep. And that was a massive benefit for me. I'm being told that you can't hear me very well, and I don't have headphones, so I don't really like my face being this close in, but I'm hoping that makes the sound go a little bit higher. I just want to touch on hydration, Rebecca, because the big focus in our first week was really the learnings of the benefits of good hydration. Why is that so important?
So your body is something like 60% water. And so that's a lot. And it means that all of your organs and all of the processes that are happening inside your body, which are things that we don't even need to think about. Like, our body is just doing all of these fabulous processes that we don't even really fully understand. But water is a key part of all of those processes. And so not enough water, they can't happen that efficiently. So water is really, really important. I think it's easy to forget that we need water and that we actually need quite a lot of water. So at least 2 liters per day as kind of a bare minimum. If you're exercising, you're going to need more. If it's warm, it's English summer, but when it has been warm, even more then. So we really do need to be getting lots and lots of water in.
Good. Well, cue the water bottle. I'm sipping away. I've been much more focused on it actually since the challenges began within the group. As far as eating healthy goes, I know there's a big wave within the supermarkets and the media about eating healthily, and I think so many people are on the bandwagon of, you know, I see things like protein ice creams and all these sugar-coated healthy snacks at the counters in supermarkets, which I don't think are that healthy at all. How do we really know what is healthy, and what are your tips for shopping with all these adverts, you know, flying around?
So the only way to really know is to look at the ingredients list. So whenever you're looking at a list, the thing that's named first means there's the most of it. The thing that's named last means there's the least of it. So if the first thing is some kind of sugar, obviously manufacturers do disguise it in different ways. They use lots of different ingredients. But if it's something that looks like it's a sugar, that's going to be the first thing. And what you actually see a lot of is I'm fat-free or something, but they're actually like 90% sugar. But yes, they are fat-free. But it doesn't mean that they're healthy just because they are fat-free. So check the ingredients list always. My personal top tip for kind of avoiding the supermarket noise, I shop online. I find that it's cheaper because I can see the total of my shopping basket. And if it's more than I actually wanted to spend on my weekly shop, then I go back through and pull out things that I didn't really need. And you just avoid all of those like supermarket ends, which are full of the things that you don't really need, and you're much more focused on what it is that you actually have gone in to buy when you've done it online. I know it's not for everybody, but I find that is really useful for avoiding the noise. But yeah, if you're in the supermarket, go with the list, don't go hungry. And if you're interested in something, then read the ingredients list, and then you'll really find out what's in there, because marketing is quite sly sometimes, especially when it comes to food products.
Having had a lifetime in sports marketing, I guarantee that is very much the case.
Yeah.
I've found what's been really useful in the group for me is Danielle and a few of the other guys have been posting menu recipes, which has given me a focus on planning ahead, because I'm terrible. I'm really guilty of overbuying and then throwing stuff out. So I know you've mentioned this to me before, you know, it is quite important to maybe spend a bit of time menu planning for the week so you don't have that element of wastage. Is that something that you kind of get into the habit of doing on a weekly basis?
Yeah, 100%. So I feel like I'm giving away all my secrets here, but no, in my phone, in the notes section, I, throughout the week, write down things that I'd like to have for next week. So whether I fancied like last week, I really had this craving for like a Moroccan chicken couscous thing, or whether I really fancied spaghetti bolognese, stir fry, whatever it is. Throughout the week, I write down the things that I want. And then end of the week, go online, do my online food shop. So I'm not getting distracted by all of the weird, wonderful snacks that they have. But I've got that plan of things that I've wanted. So it's not time consuming. It doesn't take me any time to plan it. It's just as it pops into my head, I write it down. And so then buy all the ingredients for it. And then I know that I've got everything. So I've got, for all the recipes that I'm making, I've got all of the different ingredients that I need. So I don't need to go, you know, into Sainsbury's halfway through the week and pick up something else. I've got everything that I need, and it's there, and I'm more likely to cook than order a takeaway because I've already got the food in the fridge and I don't want to have to put it in the bin. So no matter what time you get home, it's always there ready to go. And it works so well. And, you know, don't forget about batch cooking. Don't forget about a friend the other day was saying that she doesn't eat peppers because she never gets through a pack of 3 in a week. She lives on her own. And I was like, just slice them and put them in the freezer. Put them in a freezer bag and then get them out. And then the next time you just do it that way. So there's so many little hacks or different ways around it that you don't need to. Eating healthy doesn't need to be this uber expensive task. There's so many ways around it to make it really easy, really convenient, as cheap as possible. Everything doesn't have to be fresh. Frozen can come like, tinned sweet corn, tinned beans, like chickpeas, lentils. There's so many cupboard items that people often think are a bit unhealthy, but 100% go with them.
Well, I think that's a very good tip. I was really adverse to doing supermarket shops online. And then after I'd done the first one, and then you've got those baskets set up, and then it does become much quicker. It's so much easier. And like you, I just did one yesterday, actually, and then realised I'm going away next week, but I'm just going to put it in freezer bag. So that's a very good tip. You touched then on frozen food. My next question was going to be really about ensuring we get the right level of micronutrients, because we hear a lot that there are a lot of foods don't have the level of micronutrients that they used to. First of all, why is that? And do we lose them when we put them in the freezer, when we freeze food?
So the reason why we're getting less micronutrients from what we're eating is because unless we've got our own vegetable patch or we go to pick your own farms and things like that, we're not actually eating something just as it's been picked. Sometimes, I did some research, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was an apple could have been stored for 6 months, a carrot 9 months, and a potato 12 months. That's the time it was picked, and then the amount of time that it's been stored. And we know that as soon as a fruit or vegetable is picked, that's when its nutrient quality is at its best, and then it will just deteriorate over time. So even though we might think, we're having a really good diet because I'm eating all of these fruits and vegetables that I pick up from the supermarket, they may not be giving you what you think you're getting. So that, I'm not trying to scare people here. It's just the world that we live in, It's just the way that technology has advanced and demand has advanced. And, a way around it is to eat seasonally, because at least then, like the British strawberries that we're eating now have been grown pretty recently. So we know that we're okay there. But if you're trying to eat a strawberry in January, that has been picked a long time ago, because then it's got to be shipped from another country where they've been able to grow it. There's so many factors. So yeah, we're not necessarily getting what we think we're getting.
Yeah.
And what my grandparents were getting from a salad is very different to what I'm now getting from a salad, just the way that the generations have gone. But actually freezing, so when a vegetable, I think I've taken this fact from a Bird's Eye advert, but I do believe them, because when they've picked the vegetables, they put them in the freezer, or they freeze them within a few hours of picking. So even though, you might have the peas in your freezer for a couple of months, because they were frozen straight away, pretty much, that means that it's sort of halted the nutrient deterioration. So yes, frozen vegetables is a pretty good way forward. It's much cheaper, it's much more convenient, you're not going to have food waste, and you may well be getting slightly higher micronutrients. The only thing is it doesn't work with all vegetables. So just for some things it's not going to work out, but where you can, I'd 100% go frozen.
Sure. I think it's quite scary when you hear how long they're kept in cool storage before they go on the supermarket shelves, and that doesn't even sort of touch on the fact that so many fruits and vegetables are genetically modified now as well, so they all look redder and rounder, and the poor carrots that are wonky shaped kind of get thrown aside. So there's a lot of factors, and in fact, for those that may not have seen, I posted an article, I don't know if you've seen it, Rebecca, that I found online that I use for some of my clients, that talks about why we don't get the nutritional value in our foods that our grandparents did. And it was exactly that. I think there was one stat that we need to eat something like 22 bags of spinach to get the same nutritional value that our grandparents would get out of one. And the same applies for so many other fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
So no, that's
scary.
really interesting. The other thing, as far as sort of toxicity and how soil depletion, environmental toxicity affects what we eat, I think that's had a big effect on the fact that our bodies were never really designed to eat the size of portions that we eat in today's world. And I know I always thought I was tall. My daughter's like 6 foot in her bare feet. Generations do seem to be getting bigger, but why is that?
I'm not sure in terms of like why they're getting taller. I think that maybe when children are young, they have more access to food. I mean, I'm not really talking about you because you're quite young, but you know, maybe like my great grandparents and things like that, you know, food was a lot harder to come by when you think about like war times and those generations. Then yeah, the child may not have really been able to have quite as many different foods in their first few years of life, which will definitely play a factor. Also could play a factor in why more and more people are overweight than ever before. And that number is really quite high. In the UK, it's more than 60%. So about 2/3 of adults are overweight or obese. That's men and women. And again, there will definitely be some factors about, you know, their childhood and how easy it is to access food now that our bodies just weren't really designed for.
Yeah, I think I read a stat that 1 in 5 people now literally, you know, do die from you know, food weight related issues because of the level of obesity in the modern world. And I think that one of the good learnings from the group, I know we're only into the second week of Me 30, but it's all, you know, if you don't have access to eat as healthily as you would like, it's just, you know, training your stomach to get used to smaller sized portions. And, you know, that's one of my learnings. If you go out and you can't control what you're eating, you know, I think our bodies were never really designed to eat as much as we do. And you just need to go to America, especially, to see the size of the portions they serve over there. It's extraordinary. So I'm going to just come on now to talking a little bit about the macronutrients and which are important. I know that as we get older, they say we should be doing more weight-bearing exercise and protein load a little bit more because we struggle to store protein. How can we ensure we are getting enough protein and the other macronutrients in our diet?
Yeah, so the macronutrients, because I learned the other day that not everybody knows what they are, it's easy to assume these things, are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And so they're the nutrients that provide our body with energy. So when we're talking about calories, that's always going to be provided by either protein, carbohydrates, or fats. Also get calories from alcohol, but I'm not going to go into alcohol too much because we don't really want to be getting too many calories from that. But of the protein, carbohydrates, and fats, every time you're thinking about a meal, so think back to when I was talking about when I, in my notes section on my phone, put down what I want to eat next week, you've always got to have 3 components. You've got to have protein, you've got to have carbs, preferably like a higher fiber, whole grain version, and you've got to have some fats. But that could come from, you know, if you're having oily fish like salmon, you've got your source of fats. If you're having avocado, if you're cooking in some rapeseed oil or some olive oil on a salad, you're getting your source of fats. The vegetables that are on your plate will normally provide your body with predominantly some carbs, but also they have very high water content. So they don't add many calories for the quantity that you're able to consume. So if you are feeling like you need a bigger portion, always a good idea to scale up your vegetable portion because it will help to keep you feeling full without adding a huge number of calories. But with the protein, I think especially as people get older or as people are more conscious of, you know, trying to lose weight or whatever your goal is, they think about eating less and think that like less is better. But it's very easy to go through your day. If you think about like a typical British diet, you might have a bowl of cereal for breakfast, you might have a sandwich for lunch, and then in the evening meal, that's when you really have your first source of protein. So you might have, you know, your chicken or your lentils or your fish or whatever it is. And that's not really ideal. There's quite a lot of research to show that having protein regularly throughout the day, so at your breakfast time, your lunch time, and your evening meal, can have great benefits. So a meal that is rich in protein is going to help you to keep you feeling full for longer. And protein in itself, this is a bit technical, but it uses up a bit more energy to digest, absorb, and metabolize than the other macronutrients, so like the carbs and the fats, which is a good thing. So your body is using up more energy to process this protein, and it helps to keep you feeling full. So there's lots of benefits to that. Having your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner all as being a good source of protein. And I don't mean that you need to have, you know, a good source of protein is like one chicken breast or a couple of eggs. It doesn't need to be like 5 steaks every day or anything that's kind of unachievable. It's just around that, you know, between 20 and 40 grams of protein regularly throughout the day.
And I guess that's why these protein shakes are so popular with athletes, because obviously they need to be taking on a lot more, a few more calories to compensate for the exercise that they're doing, that they're exerting, which is a nice segue actually onto your view of supplementing. I have been part of, you know, the isogenic system and been using it now for a couple of years, and a few of us in the group are, but there's a lot that don't know too much about it and probably are as skeptical as I was when I was first approached at the prospect of supplementing with powders and shakes, which I thought sounded absolutely hideous. And, you know, now they're just so much a part of my life and make such a difference to me. But what was your view? Because as a nutritionist, you know, you also are advocates of eating real food. What are your views on shakes?
So when I think back to when I was at uni doing my degree, I was very much kind of imagining that people would live this ideal life, and they would sit down to a nice wholesome breakfast in the morning, and they'd, you know, have their fresh fruits and things as their snacks during the day. They'd have a healthy packed lunch. They'd cook from scratch in the evenings. I just kind of had this dream. And, you know, that's kind of how I was brought up, which is, I guess, why I think it's normal. And then I sort of opened my eyes in my 20s into the real world and realized that nobody was doing that. I moved to London and everybody was eating every single meal on the go. You'd walk past coffee shops and there'd be queues out the door for breakfast, for lunch. Everybody's eating out in the evenings. People aren't living that idyllic life that I really thought of. In my previous job, I was working with a team who were working on this project about what you'd need to eat in a week to hit all of your dietary requirements. So your macronutrients, your micronutrients, your 5 a day, your oily fish, your not too much red meat, all of those different healthy eating guidelines. And when I saw the results of it, I kind of realized then that it was quite unachievable for everybody to be getting everything that they needed. There was a lot of variety that people aren't getting in their diet. There was a lot of cooking from scratch, which might sound like that's what you do, but even when you had a curry, you weren't using a paste or a jar or anything. It was all of the raw ingredients and you were starting from scratch. So you've got to add on 30 minutes to your cooking time, which for so many people was unachievable. So that's kind of for me when I began to think, hang on, I became a nutritionist to improve the health of other people. And if this is what I'm asking them to do, I'm not doing that myself. So how can I expect that the general population who don't have this interest in health and this love for cooking, how are they going to do it if I'm not doing it? And so supplementing really is not what I thought I was going to. If you said to me 10 years ago, this is what you're going to say, I would have been like, absolutely not. But I did just open my eyes and realize that this is a really easy way for the masses to get healthy, to improve their health, to feel so much better, to get more out of every day. All the things that I wanted to help people do, by using supplements is a way that everybody can achieve it. Everybody can do this. You don't need to have masses of time or skills or equipment or anything. So yeah, that is my new opinion, and it's here to stay.
Absolutely. And the time thing is a biggie for me. I mean, I just love it when you're on the go and you don't have the time to stop and cook and sauce. It does really, you know, it works like magic and so easily to fit into your lifestyle. Now, one of the other learnings from our isogenic system, and again, one that is quite popular at the moment, is intermittent fasting. So I just wanted to touch on that. I mean, I was in a cafe the other day and there were 3 young girls, sort of my daughter's age, in their early 20s, all saying they're on a fast day. And of course, I stuck my nose in, like, you know, and they went, oh yes, you know, we've been doing it now for the last 6 months. So I know the younger generation, they are really adopting this, but it's quite new to, although it's been around, obviously, since the monks in the 10th century, and a lot of religions adopt it. For our generation, a lot of people are still quite wary about it. but the health benefits I know go way beyond weight loss. How do you incorporate fasting, and do you incorporate fasting in your lifestyle?
So for me, well, let me rewind a little bit. When I was at uni, tried to do some fasting, but it was all you had was water, and there was nothing to kind of help you through. And I remember sitting at my desk trying to write an essay, and I just couldn't. Like, I was awake, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, but I just wasn't fully functioning, and I needed something to eat. And that was day one of my fast. And you hear of other people going for like days and days with just having water. But for me, that really wasn't working. So then didn't do any fasting for a number of years. And then when I started working here with Isogenics, that's when I really realized that I had to give it a go. And I'm not going to recommend anything to anybody if I'm not going to do it myself. So I found a way that worked for me. It's going to be different for different people. But now every Wednesday, I fast. So that's kind of my day for intermittent fasting. And maybe it's not every Wednesday. Last Wednesday, I didn't really feel very good. So I decided to just go back and eat my normal healthy meals. So maybe some months it'll only be like 2 or 3 times rather than 4 times. But you can definitely still benefit. My goal isn't to lose weight. I've never really had a weight loss goal. It's really just to stay healthy. And I think that's such an important part. People think about losing weight and they'll do anything to lose weight. But actually, let's just lose that weight and then stay healthy so that we never have to lose weight again. And we can just stay feeling good, looking good, being happy, all of those wonderful things. But it's constant rather than kind of fluctuating up and down. So the benefits of fasting, there's lots and lots of research going on. And we've been doing fasting here since 2002, so 17 years. And back then there was hardly any research on the benefits, but we just knew really from practice that there was definitely benefit and there was going to be research coming out. So now there's lots that has come out, but still lots more to come over the next few years. So it is definitely on trend right now and it's here to stay. But yes, you can lose weight. But even if you're not trying to lose weight, it's a good opportunity for your body to use up all the energy that you have stored. And you may not realize how much energy your body has got stored up. But every time you eat, if you're not burning that energy straight away, which 99% of the time we're not, then it goes into storage. And so it's a great opportunity to kind of get that out, use up that energy, and give your body a break from eating. And when your body is not constantly digesting and metabolizing and processing, then it can actually focus on all the other jobs that it has to do. Because if you think back to like cavemen, which is a long time ago, but they didn't have this regular breakfast at 7, lunch at midday, evening meal at 7, snacks in between. They didn't have this. They was like, we'll eat when we eat and then we'll fast the rest of the time. So our bodies are kind of designed to not be constantly eating. And so there's a lot of processes that can't happen when our body is focusing its attention on processing all of the meals that we've had. So there will be lots of exciting research it's called autophagy. And there has been a Nobel Prize won by a Japanese scientist for his research so far, but that's very recent. That's only a couple of years ago. And there's lots more research coming out on that now and kind of the health benefits that can have on the body.
That's so interesting. I love learning more about that. I mean, I adopted it when I started the program, and I, like you, I don't really need to lose too much weight, but I just find I feel so much better. My brain is on fire. You wake up in the morning after a fast day and your tummy feels flatter. And I think because you're drinking so much, you go to the loo a lot, but you do feel all the toxins and everything are just coming out of you. And I'm absolutely, I'm a big fan of it now. And yeah, I think it's something that we'll be talking about a little bit more within the group over the course of the week, because there are a few that are not part of the isogenic system on here. So to be brutally honest, I have to say I just looked at the clock and it is now 4:30, so I don't want to talk for too much longer. I've learned so much from what you have said. Before I sign off, I can see a few comments coming up here. has anybody got any questions they would like to fire at Rebecca whilst we've got her ear? I know a few people are saying, you know, what can we do to assist losing weight healthily? But I think overcoming those myths about fats and carbs that you touched on is really important, because they are still very important in your diet.
Yeah.
And, you know, they shouldn't be cut out completely.
We do need everything. Do we have any questions?
Can't see any coming up, but I'm not sure, because this is the first time we've done this, I'm not sure how many have been watching and how many will watch it afterwards. But if there are any pressing ones, we will get back to you. So look, I will wrap up. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I always learn so much from what you've taught us. Better sleep. Now, yeah, we'll come back to sleep. Actually, it's a good point, Danny, because we did have a couple of ladies saying that they hadn't been sleeping very well, and what tips. Now, I was going to put something up about magnesium, because again, that was a nugget that got me involved in the system. I would just hit sort of perimenopausal symptoms. I was waking in the night with hot flushes, and that was the nugget that got me over the line when I was first approached, because I didn't really need to lose that much weight, although I did reshape. But yes, so do you put that down to the magnesium in the system, Rebecca?
There's a few different things. Magnesium, there is some research behind magnesium and sleep, and how, so magnesium is in one of the products that in our program you have just before going to bed. So that's a great time to have it, but you're also going to be getting all of the different nutrients throughout the day in all of your different meals and snacks that you're having. And so all of that combined is all going to help your sleep. Another thing is one of our products called Ionics, which is packed full of plants. Like, there'll be things in there that you've never heard of. You might have seen them on the shelf at a health food store and thought, what does that do? But just trust us on this one, that it will really help to kind of tackle all the challenges that you're facing day in, day out. And here we are, the orange bottle.
The Ionics.
And lots of people actually find that having some of that, like a small little shot before bed, can help people to sleep as well, because of some of the plants that we have used in that product. So yeah, there's a whole combination. There's benefits of the individual products, but it's also kind of how the program works all together, which lots of people have reported that they sleep so much better. And again, it could even be down to the fact that now that you've got all of these like little micronutrients, like the magnesium that your body needs, it can do all of those processes better. And so it can just sort of allow you to rest throughout the night. And sleep is so important. People do really underestimate the importance of a good night's sleep, but it can really be key. And I think, like Debbie was saying, you don't really know how important your sleep is until you can't get through the night without waking up with some kind of disturbance. And it really affects how you're feeling. So don't underestimate sleep. But some other things for sleep, lavender, I think, is a great one. Not using your phone before bed, allowing your body to really wind down and your mind to really wind down before bed. Making sure that your bedroom is cool and there's not too much light. I use an eye mask if I'm in a hotel and there's lots of light coming in. So there's lots and lots of ways, diet and outside of diet, that can help your sleep.
Yeah, fantastic. Somebody tipped me off on Epsom. You can get lavender flavoured Epsom salts that you put in your bath, and that's really
sounds like
nice.
A dream.
Yeah, I don't usually sort of have the time for long baths, but occasionally at the weekends I do, and it really does aid sleep. So no, thank you very much for that. And I think the upshot of what you've said, it just goes to show, good nutrition, it helps on so many levels beyond weight loss. We talked about sleep, energy, cortisol levels being reduced. So, if you're prone to depression, it helps that. I think this helps with my hormones as well, I have to say. But we'll sort of get more into an isogenics chat on products another time. I just wanted to try and keep this quite generic, given that so many people already are making such great steps to change their nutrition, but it's not something that can happen overnight. We've got to do little steps and ensure that they become part of our lifestyle, and it's not just a quick 30-day fix. This is something that we want to encourage people to take on and beyond. So thank you. I can't thank you enough for your time.
You're
I'm
welcome.
going to hit the finish button now and hope I can figure out how to save this. But really appreciated your time today, Rebecca, and your wisdom. And we'll, I'm sure, at some point get you back on again where we can maybe talk about the products that you endorse in a little bit more detail.
Perfect. I hope everyone found that useful. And if you've got any questions, just drop them below and we'll keep an eye on them.
Fantastic. Right, I'm going to hit the finish button now. Open
Okay.
out.
Bye.
Bye.